All right. Just here for the music. That's fair enough. All right. Not a good lead, but we have 2 counters in the back. Oh, interesting. That's not really it's not really a Talonflame check. It's actually really good for me. So if they shield this, I just boost my attack. I'm just going to shield through. We'll probably double shield, I guess. I could optimize on this one. I don't know if it's worth optimizing. Probably worth it. Oh wait, they don't even shield that. Or I get to another move. What? I thought they would have got to a second move by now. Oh, this is so bad for them. If Incinerate comes through, so this should knock him out. And then yeah, I'm a double boosted Talonflame and have a Steelix in the back. Oh, we just win this. What? That can't be right. What do they have in the back? Abomasnow? I mean, that's their best shot at winning this still, but that's kind of a weird ABA weak to Vigoroth team. Oh boy. Yo, Talonflame sweep. Beat the whole team by itself. That's kind of nuts. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I've been messing around with a bunch of different Jungle Cup teams, and one thing's for sure is that Vigoroth is one of the strongest Pokemon in this cup. However, something else I found, on top of the fact that Palutena just hard counters it completely, is that Talonflame Safe Swap is actually really good as well. The only thing you really don't want to see is Lanturn, but even against Lanturn counter swap, you have play with this specific team, and that's because I had a Guzzlord in lead with a Talonflame Safe Swap and with Palutena in the back. Outside of a few matchups where I felt completely hard countered, the vast majority of my games were wins or very winnable, and just a misplay on my end. But anyway, this is a team that's worked quite well for my patrons, so let's dive into it and see how it plays out. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. Today I'll be showcasing 3 sets of battles back to back, so nothing filtered out. You can kind of see my gameplay with this team. Quagsire lead, pretty strong overall, mostly because the Dragon Tail damage really adds up quite quickly. But the Stone Edge does hurt. It does about half your health, especially the Shadow does a ton. I get defense drop, which is nice. Still get hit by move, but at this point, it's not really worth going down 2 shields. As you can see, Stone Edge does a decent chunk of damage. And then my opponent actually comes in with Mantine. So not great for my backline either. But the Dragon Tail and the Dragon Claw damage adds up quite quickly, and Palutena just really wants no business to do with this Mantine, and Talonflame's not amazing. There's a decent amount that have been running Water Pulse from what I noticed, so that also makes things a little bit uncomfortable. Alright, let's see if... Yeah, they throw Aerial Ace for whatever reason, so my guess is maybe they're running Ice Beam, but that being said, we get to the Flame Charge. This will boost up my attack. It's enough to take them out, and if they shield, then Incinerate does a ton of damage. They actually end up shielding and taking me out with Aerial Ace. So let's see what they have in the bag. They have the Decidueye. One of the things that I love about Palutena is that with Mudshot, you get to the Shadow Ball pretty quickly. I've seen some run Sand Attack. I really don't understand the reason behind it, because Sand Attack, it just generates energy a little bit slowly. It does a little bit more damage, but your damage is really just Scorching Sand and Shadow Ball. The extra damage from the fast attack doesn't really help you too much. Magnezone lead is kind of an interesting one. I ended up swapping out right away. I guess you could potentially play it out too, but you really just want the Palutena on it. And we draw the Mud Boy, which is what we really want. And I find that sometimes when they let this fly go, they're more likely to throw Stone Edge right away. This is definitely going to be Aqua Tail. And then we get to Flame Charge, which is nice. Trying to optimize their timings a little bit. They just completely let it go, which is interesting. Now we can get the Palutena on it, which does quite a bit of damage. Double super effective Mud Shot. And Scorching Sand, of course, but you can see the much shot damage is really adding up, and this is really nothing they can threaten you with, so it's fine. I go straight for the Shadow Ball. This might be a mistake, but it takes him out, so at that point I'm feeling pretty good. And again, unlikely to go Wild Charge at this point, so they just go straight for the Mirror Shot, and we're just going to optimize and go for a Scorching Sand. And they just let it go completely. I think they just concede at that point. So, worked out quite well for me. Okay, they have Abomasnow lead. This is definitely a core breaker, for sure. But I actually find that I win a majority of my Abomasnow leads. I just experimented with different ways to play it out. And I found that you usually shield the first move. If it's Weather Ball, a little bit worse, because they pace a lot faster than Icy Wind. But if it's Icy Wind, you're in a much better position. I just go straight for the Dragon Claw on good optimization. You can see they do land a Weather Ball, but I actually get a Dragon Claw off, which is kind of nice. This Abomasnow is kind of a pain for my Palisand as well, so you just want to get rid of it. And then I find the Palisand in the back actually has quite a bit of play. They're going to throw a Surf. I'm going to Shields. I mean, if they have a Mud Boy in the back, I pretty much lose anyway. So they end up having a Quagsire in the back, which is quite nice for me. It's Poison Sting as well. Earthquake is not too threatening. So it's just neutral, whereas Scorching Sand is super effective. I throw on Charge Attack priority, so forcing out their final shield, or just taking out the Quagsire, and they get minimal value out of it. At this point, too, yeah, I'm going to throw on Charge Attack priority yet again, because they don't have shields, so I'm just going to really maximize that matchup. And the whole point is we just want to do what we can. Trying to throw again on Charge Attack priority, they don't go for it this time. That's okay. They're pretty low at this point that they need a Thunderbolt to take out my Talonflame. And they're also debuffed, which is nice. Just attack debuff, but still. It would incinerate down. So like I said, Palisand has a lot of play usually in the back because Abomasnow's there to counter the Palisand. So once that's out of the way, usually Palisand has a lot of play in the back end. Unless it's just double Mud Boy, but that'll happen from time to time. Okay, one thing I love about Talonflame Safe Swap is that you could tank a Scald, and you can usually grab a shield off the Mud Boys too. So I grabbed the shield already. It's not really worth shielding any further. Shield advantage, Palisand is usually fairly strong in the back end, and then we're going to come away with a decent amount of energy. If they don't shield the fly, you could theoretically also shield their Scald and just force their shield afterward, just so they don't have to go, they can't go straight Mud Bomb after, or just Mud Shot you down. So that's another way to play it out. Alright, and then they stay in kind of along with the Vigoroth into the Palisand, but that being said, they have a Skarmory in the back. Again, the shield advantage on the Palisand is quite nice for this very reason. Yeah, so 2 Shadow Balls is enough to do it. Not really worth baiting by any means, because if you don't land the bait, you pretty much just lose. And my opponent actually doesn't shield. Maybe they thought I was going for the bait. But this puts me in a very advantageous position, because I survive the Rock Slide, and if they bait me, that's even better too. And I'd call it. But now this is going to be a Body Slam. However, I want to get a Scorching Sand off so that I can guarantee I grab the final shield. And then we could just combo play. Come in with a Crunch on the Guzzlord, and we take it out. But yeah, so even against Vigoroth leads, Whiscash, Counter Swap, you're still fine. Like I said, the Talonflame Safe Swap is super strong. Really just outside of the Lanturn. And here they come in the Ferrothorn, and you can just farm down. Even with Thunder, no need to shield. It's really because they have no fast attack pressure, and this gives them less farm for the Lanturn. So it's actually quite nice. And on top of that, because we like are still locked in at this point, I can just switch lock their Lanturn in with my Guzzlord. So they have nowhere to go, so they're going to take a decent amount of damage, and they're forced to just throw the energy. So I'm going to just keep throwing the Dragon Tails. I'm expecting them to actually swap, so I actually swap Palisand. They swap first, and they counter swap the Palisand with the Vigoroth, so not a great spot for them. I mean, even if they stayed in that point, I still had 2 shields, so I was going to definitely take out that Lanturn either way, and the Vigoroth was inevitable. So 5-0 on that first set of battles. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of climbing with this team back and forth, so I think it's really strong. There's a few teams that are just going to straight up beat it, and you're going to see in some of these next footage. This is set number 2. Yeah, and so they swap in the Dragalge, and I end up throwing the Dragon Tail. Looking back on it, I figured they weren't going to shield, and it probably just didn't really matter too much that I threw Dragon Claw, because the Scorching Sand is almost going to one-shot anyway. So if I had the patience and time, I probably would have held on to the Dragon Claw, but realistically, they pretty much just caught it anyway, so I probably wouldn't have been able to have the control to even like not throw the Dragon Tail, even if I want to. All right, this Gyarados is loaded with energy, so we have to respect it. And it's going to be a triple Dragon fast attack pressure. Not triple Dragon because Gyarados is not Dragon, but it has that Dragon fast attack pressure. So really strong team composition. One that makes it quite hard for my Talonflame to have a lot of play because all 3 Pokemon resist the Talonflame damage. But yeah, so this one's unfortunately going to be over. But this is kind of one of those team compositions where I feel like there's only so much I could have done. If they didn't catch the Dragon Claw, maybe I would have had a little bit more play. But it was definitely an uphill battle for me all the way throughout. Another Dragon Tail, double Dragon Tail, Dragon damage team. Let's hope the third one isn't. But we get the shield off the Dragalge, which of course is pretty valuable overall. I'm not really going to win this matchup either way, so it's not really worth me shielding. We get a decent amount of farm though with the Dragon Tails here. I definitely can't shield this, but also it's unlikely that's Outrage. So that's fine. I'm stuck in this matchup for a hot second, but I get through the Crunch and Dip and see what happens here. And they have, well, they throw a move, so we're going to have to respect this. Ends up being Psychic Fangs, but they have Dragonite, so you're going to see why the Psychic Fangs shielding it actually ends up mattering. Because I pretty much just can't get to this next Shadow Ball if I didn't shield the Psychic Fangs damage. However, I also have like no health, so this is pretty much over as well. We go, unfortunately, into 2 back-to-back Dragon fast attack pressure teams where, yeah, unfortunately just, I mean, my Talonflame actually had more play there, but it just couldn't get onto the Steelix. So, those 2, I would say, very tough team compositions for this team. They're not really teams you see fairly regularly, though, so might be okay. This opponent actually stays in Lanturn into the Guzzlord, so I end up shielding, thinking, alright, it's probably going to be a Thunderbolt. They actually go Surf first for some reason. But at this point, I'm not going to shield the second move, even if it's Thunderbolt. Did not expect them to bait in a negative matchup like that. So they're ABA weak to Guzzlord, and then they come in Mantine. Unfortunately, I'm pretty weak to Mantine in the back, so I just stay in and hope that my backline has a lot of play. We do get off 2 attacks, though, so that's pretty nice. And they don't shield any of them, unfortunately. And then they finally take me out. I'm thinking, all right, even if it's like a, I don't know what I'm thinking right here, a water type in the back, I should be okay with 2 Pokemon. And I let this go, thinking I'm worse as the Ice Beam, but this person's running Water Pulse, and here's when I realized I made a huge mistake. So something I should have realized is they have a Lanturn lead with a Mantine in the back. Both are fairly weak to Dragon and Guzzlord, which means that their last Pokemon, and both are very strong into Fire. Or sorry, yeah, Fire types. Which is why I should have realized that my Talonflame had a lot more play. Like, if they truly, I was thinking they might have had a Vigoroth in the back, but if they truly had a Vigoroth in the back, my Palisand would have been fine, even if I'm down 2 shields, plus Talonflame could still chunk it. So, that was a loss, but more of a misplay on my end, a misread on the backline than anything else, because I had a great matchup, right? Great in the lead, even decent when they came in, chunked the Mantine quite a bit, but I just didn't respect the potential Trevenant and Grass in the back. That being said, this is a pretty good spot for me to be in. So anytime they catch a move on the Vigoroth, I find that if you throw the Scorching Sand, you can usually just mud-shot down the Vigoroth. So it actually works out even better for me in that situation. If they don't catch a move, I come in Palisand, I have to throw 2 Scorching Sands, which still is not that big of a deal because Palisand has such a good matchup there, but just something to note in that situation. And then now they come in Talonflame. We're in a pretty good spot. Could probably grab our shields. They don't shield either way. I would have been a good spot because we're just going to win the mirror matchup at that health range. So they quit out. All right, and then we get Skarmory lead, which usually I just swap out of, and then we're met with the worst case scenario, which is the Lanturn. That being said, it is not over. All right, like I said, this is the worst possible situation for the Talonflame. But you resist all the attacks from the Lanturn, so you can get a very aggressive farm down. I'm just going to lock them in to this matchup. Not even wait on my timer too much, because if they pivot out, it could be a little bit weirder. They're going to come up with a lot of energy, and the Skarmory's not going to appreciate this energy either, especially if they get debuffed. So this energy is still pretty valuable, and it helps kind of even this out a little bit, because after I throw these 2 crunches, the Skarmory is pretty much at the same health range as my Guzzlord. Something I love about Palo Sand is it tends to win charge attack priority against a decent amount of things. Vigoroth, Skarmory. Maybe my attack spread is just really bad, so that might be part of it. But yeah, my opponent is shielding, so this makes you think, all right, they must be pretty weak to the Palo Sand in the back. Best case scenario for me is they have a Vigoroth, which would be a team that's not unsurprising. And what do you know? It is Vigoroth. So like I said, even if you run into a hard counter lead and a really hard counter swap in the Talonflame versus the Lanturn, this team still has a lot of play. And yeah, looks like my opponent's just going to quit out at this point. So we're just going to finish them off right there. And we end up losing in that set 2 and 3. But that's all good. 2 were matches that were just unwinnable. And the third one was my fault. But like I said, I'm just showing you these 3 sets right back to back. So you're going to have some of my misplays and my losses in these as well. I'm not cherry picking any of my matches. Okay, Quagsire safe swap draws out my Palo's hand. It's probably the thing that makes the most amount of sense. But looking back on it, I'm like, they might be trying to draw my Palo's hand for their Vigoroth safe swap in the back. So, unfortunately, did shield a Stone Edge, but that's okay. And then we're able to get to that move. And unfortunately, I don't get to the Shadow Ball. Maybe I should just throw in a Scorching Sand to force a potential shield or just do some chip damage. This is going to do a good chunk of damage, unfortunately. So I'm going to shield, and then here comes the Vigoroth. As I expected, halfway through the match, I was like, it's kind of tough. This is not unwinnable. I think if I just do the Scorching Sand and maybe just let the Dragon Claw go from Dragonite, I might be okay. But yeah, just on the off chance that there's a Vigoroth. So something to watch out for if they have like a safe swap Quagsire. Vigoroth might be lurking in the back. Unfortunately for this team, you kind of still have to come in Palo Sand. You just have to understand that you need a shield for the Talonflame to have any play into Vigoroth in the back end. Another Skarmory lead with Quagsire safe swap. And like I said, a lot of times when they tank the fly, they're probably just going for Stone Edge. Unfortunately, this person is going straight for Aqua Tail. It could really be hit or miss. It could really be either or, because they could always choose a shield later, even if they go bait first. So I guess it doesn't actually indicate too much, but that's just kind of my experience. Maybe it's misinformed. We go for the fly, and now I'm just going to swap out. I don't know about this play, if it's actually good or not, but I'm thinking, all right, you know what? I'm just swap out here, maybe incinerate down the Skarmory and see how it goes. I don't typically play it out like this, but because we both went down both shields and I still have a ton of health on my Talonflame, I'm thinking, okay, I might still have some play here. So let's see what they do. They throw the Brave Bird, takes me out, but I get a full mud shot down, which is quite nice. And what do they have in the back? The Quagsire still has some energy. My guess is that they still have at least an Aqua Tail ready. So this is going to be the Aqua Tail for sure. And let's see what happens. Yeah, they have the Vigoroth. So, again, Palo Sand, very, very strong in this matchup. The question is, do I survive the Rock Side or not? Because that's going to do a decent amount. But that's why we run the Palo Sand. It's going to eat up all them Vigoroth in this meta. And there's sure is plenty of Vigoroth. So, pretty much, even though Palo Sand's not ranked very high in the rankings, it is very, very strong in this meta just for that sole reason. Okay, Shadow Quagsire. A lot of Quagsire are just going straight Stone Edge. This is very unlikely to bait in that situation. And again, another safe swap Vigoroth catching a Dragon Claw. What did I say before? If they do that, one Scorching Sand and you can just munch out down. So that's what I'm going to do. I always throw it right away. I don't even try to throw on Charge Attack priority. If I could debuff them earlier, then you just take less damage from counter and everything else. So it's just better to do that way. I don't know why this one's throwing Body Slam. Maybe some people don't see enough Palo Sand. I don't know. But there's never a world I shield, even if they bulldoze. But they just go double Body Slam for whatever reason. And it's actually pretty good for me. I have a lot of energy for this Quagsire, and Scorching Sand is going to do quite a bit. Yeah, I end up no shielding, and I survive. I think because they got debuffed, actually. Yeah, coming out clutch for me. And then, of course, we have this match on the back end. We're going to clean up with that. So, quite nice. Sableye in the lead. You don't see this every day, but we do see it, and they just top left the moment they see the Talonflame. So it was a quick one. There's going to be a decent amount of matches, I think, that you'll see that end up being quicker than expected. All right, so this is actually a pretty tough situation. This is not just a very hard counter in the lead. It's a very hard counter in the back. Like, these are probably both the worst case scenarios you can see for both the lead and the counter swap. So let's see if we come out with a win on this one or not, because at this point I'm just hoping for a Vigoroth in the back, so I at least have some type of positive matchup, but we'll see. Even then though, the charm damage definitely would add up quite a bit. It's not really worth me chipping with any moves with the Guzzlord here because it's all resisted, so I'd rather save the moves for a combo play rather than like last time when they came in and Skarmory into the Guzzlord energy. Ends up being a Whiscash. This is pretty bad. This is really bad. I mean, you know, it's not like super hard counter, but they win, right? I mean, the Mud Shot and the the Scorching Sand damage is neutral, but they have the super effective Skull. They also debuff me more frequently than I would debuff them. That Skull debuff didn't actually do too much, all things considered. Just Mud Shot's doing a little less damage because they're going to shield my Scorching Sand either way. But yeah, they're shielding, and then the kicker is they expect my combo play, so they see it coming, they catch it. Honestly, if they didn't swap out, if I didn't get counter swap like that, I might have had a chance. Could have potentially landed a move and taken out the Wigglytuff, but their anticipation on top of that was just wild. Yeah, so really well played by my opponents. We do end up only going 3-2 on the last one, but still positive. And like I said, last game, super hard counter. And I can't remember what happened to the other one I lost, but could have been a misplay. If you end up using the team, let me know how it goes. But best of luck on your climb. We do have all 3 open metas coming up soon. And my next video is going to be featuring a Master League team. So if for those Master League grinders, be on the lookout for that. I think I said that in my last video, but I realized that Master League's going to be around for another week. So I'm going to prioritize the Jungle Cup a little bit more. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content. Hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. And I'll catch you all next time. Peace.